Hey guys, this is Ben. I want to talk to you a little bit about select boxes. Now, select boxes are one of those things that seem like they should be really easy until you start trying to use them or do more advanced things with them in your service portal pages. So today I want to show you just how easy and powerful YDS makes select boxes in service portal. So here I just have a blank widget. If I look at this, there's not much here, just basically a blank area to start playing. I want to hop over to the Yansa Design System documentation site and start building out a select box. And it's really easy. I can come in here and I can search for simple select. There we go. And I've got some code here that I can get started with. So here's the sample client JavaScript. I'll copy that. I'm going to drop it over here in my JavaScript. We'll come back. I'm going to copy the HTML. I'm going to drop that in here as well. Save this. And now, easy as that, I've got a select box. Looks great, looks just like we expect from Service Portal. I can select things here. I can also type to start searching and select things, and we can see that the value I'm selecting always stays what it should be right down here. So there you go. That's all there is to making a select box with YDS. Really simple, really easy. It also makes things a little bit more powerful. Like maybe I want to allow folks to do multiple selections in the select box. How would I do that? Well, all I gotta do is come over here and add a parameter of allow multiple equals true. I'll save that, come back, and easy as that, now I've got a select box that I can select multiple. So I can pick the Andes, I can pick the Sierra Madre, Hindu Kush, I can delete one, and you can see my value down here is always remaining a comma separated value of everything that's up there in the select box. That's great. I can even do some form validation here if I want to. What if I want to make this a required field? That's as easy as adding YDS validate by typing in here. That's our YDS validation library. Then do ng required equals true. Let's save that, come back, and now this is a required field. That's great. So now I got to select something before let me continue, and it's all illustrated right there. So this is great. This gives us a really easy, simple select box that has some pretty powerful features. But one of the things you'll find when you start getting really advanced with select boxes is that when you try to build them yourself, sometimes they don't stay tightly bound to your scope variables, or maybe you can't programmatically make changes, do things in your code to alter or to set the select. It gets really complex. So I'm going to show you how the YDS selects automatically are tightly bound to your model, and you can do changes whether in the user interface or in code, and they always stick. So I'm going to go make a few changes, add a few buttons that do some stuff in code. I'll be right back with you to show you how that looks. Okay, and now we're back. So all I've really done here is I've added a few buttons that will trigger some programmatic changes. If I look over here in my code, I can see I got something to set the value to Andes, to nullify the value, or to set it read-only, and then I've added the tags in here to help me out with that and the buttons. So now I've got this on my widget, and I can see that I can interact with this thing just as before on the user interface side, and it's updating my values. Maybe in the code, for some reason, I need to nullify the value. I can now do that. If in the code, for some reason, I need to set a value to this field, like to Andes, I can do that in the code. And we'll see that these changes are not only happening in the UI visually, but they're also happening down here on the in the variable value. So they're always staying tightly bound. What you see is what you actually get. Or maybe I just need to set this value read-only. I can also do that, so then I can allow no more edits. So this allows us to have full control of our select and to ensure always that what you see on the screen is actually what that variable value is on the back end, which is sometimes a difficult thing to achieve with these. So you may be saying this is great, this is a simple select if I have a static set of fields. What about reference fields, things like that? So now let me go and set up a few other field types, maybe a reference field, a couple other things, and I'll come back and we can look at those. Thanks, and please stand by. Okay guys, now I'm back and show you what I did here. So honestly, doing a reference select is even easier than doing a simple select. I got rid of the simple select variable I had in client script, and I went right back over to the documentation site, copied and pasted the HTML from the select reference section, just dropped it right into my widget right here. Then I went through and just reset some of the variables to things I wanted. So I want table, sys user, I want the search field to be name and the display field to be name. Show a title if they have one. I got a section where I'm setting a default query, which I'll show you in a second. Right now it's setting it to filter, which is just empty, so we'll see everything. And then the same ng disabled that we had before. So now if I pop over, we'll see all you really need is that YDS Select Reference tag to have a select reference. So I'll look in here and I'll see things from the user table. I can search against this just the way as I did before. Whenever I select one of these, I'm going to get a sys ID. And just like before, the nice thing about YDS is that we use a similar set of parameters and a similar lexicon. So if I do want to make this into a multi-select, all I have to do is the same as I did before. Just come over here, set allow multiple equals true, save that, and now I have a multi-select reference field, which is very useful. But let's say I also want to do some of those programmatic changes, right? So right now, I can say set this Abraham Lincoln. If I want to, I can nullify that value. Right now I'm seeing everything. Maybe I just want to set this filter programmatically to something like names that contain Ben. Click this and programmatically I've set the default query, so now I'm only going to see names that contain Ben. And this is great for limiting selections that are options on initialization or based on some other selection on a form, for instance. And then of course I can always just set this thing to read only like before and can't interact with it. And maybe you're thinking, what about default values? That's something else we're accustomed to in ServiceNow. Could I set this to a default value of, for instance, the logged in user? Yeah, you sure can. I'll set that up right now. So yeah, now if you look, all I've done is I've gotten a server script involved, and so I've added just a server call to figure out who the default user is, gs.getUserID, and I'm setting that in my data object. And then I come in here, and you'll notice that I've mostly been using the scope variable here. But just to show you, this works just the same with the with C if you're used to using the controller as syntax. So there's various equals this, and then I just come over and set value to c.data.default user. And we use this value as our default value in all of our variables across the YDS framework. So that'll be consistent as well. Now if I come over and I reset, I'll see there I am. Default value has been holofilled. And if I do choose to keep on adding more people here, again, I just get a comma-separated list of sys IDs. What you see is what you get. UI is always tightly bound to the underlying variable with YDS elements. And so I won't bore you with the rest, but now that we've taken control of these select boxes and these select elements, we can do lots of cool things. We have a number of selects in YDS, from a simple select to the reference, all the way down to user. So now because we have control of this, we can start catering the views that are available to different data types. And you can actually play around with these on the documentation site. So over here on Yansa documentation, I can click on this and see what this looks like. And this is just a customized select box that contains photos and titles of the users. We can actually do this for any kind of table or any data type. So if you want to have special select views for catalog items, for users, for whatever you may have, we can build those for you. Or something as simple as a select quantity, which is slightly smaller and more customized for something like selecting a number. So, long story short, we think we've made select boxes quite a bit simpler than they had been before, and quite a bit more powerful. Because of how tightly these are bound to their scope variables and all the different parameters and options you have, you can start to build more than just simple widgets on a page. You can start to build real web applications on top of Service Portal. So we're really excited to see what you guys do with this. Thanks a lot. If you have any questions, just hit the Contact Us form and let us know. Thanks a lot. Bye.